welcome back. My name is Sarah, and I know it's been a while. Sorry, my camera broke. I've been trying to figure it out. Not only are we in a different location, we have a completely different camera and a completely different lighting setup, so we're gonna see how it works. The window is open because if the window was closed, there's a glare from my beautiful ring light in the window, so if you hear some noise happening outside, we're just gonna ignore it. I'm back home now in Philadelphia, but I'm moving back to DC in 2 weeks. I thought I would show you my entire physical TBR because most of these books are gonna be coming back to DC with me, and so this is probably what you're gonna be seeing me reading for the next month or so. So these 2 books I am extremely excited for because I don't know if you can see right here on my shelf, but I did read the Grisha trilogy over the year in preparation for the TV show because it looked incredible. However, I still haven't seen the show because I still haven't read these 2. So we have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo and The Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. If you weren't aware, both of these are kind of companion spin-off, I don't really know what you would call it, of the Grisha trilogy, but everyone talks about how they love these a lot better. It deals with a lot of the same plot points and characters and themes from the original trilogy, but I believe these take place before the original 3. Six of Crows is the first one, Crooked Kingdom is the second one. I've been putting it off because I know it's gonna just emotionally destroy me, but I need to do it because I need to have these read. I want to read King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, is that the new one? So once I read Six of Crows, I'll actually be able to watch Shadow and Bone, which I've been waiting for since April, and it's currently August.
And if I ever lose myself to you, like a million others want to do.
The next book I have is The Sympathizer by Viet Thanh Nguyen. If I pronounce that wrong, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. This is about a communist double agent in the Vietnam War and the fall of Saigon. I have only heard good things about it. My mother read it. She said she really liked it. Everyone I know who has read this has said that it's 100% my vibe, exactly something that I'm gonna love. I'm a big historical fiction fan, so I'm super excited for this, especially because I actually have not read a lot of historical fiction this year. I've been reading a lot of fantasy this year because we love a good escapism during hard times, but I think I'm ready to dive into this. The next book I have is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I am so excited for this. I can't even describe how excited I am for this. I kind of started it, which is why you see a post-it note, but I was like not in a good place. I was like, you know what? We're gonna take a step back. We're gonna save this because you need to cherish it. You need to read it when you're actually gonna be able to appreciate it and you're not like doing other stuff over here mentally. Clearly by the title you can tell it's a Gothic tale set in Mexico. We know I love Gothic. We know it's one of my favorite things ever. If you weren't aware, I read Jane Eyre at the beginning of the year and it was absolutely fabulous. The main character in this gets a really sketchy letter from her cousin who lives in this Gothic mansion in the Mexican countryside being like, my in-laws are crazy and they're poisoning me and they're gonna kill me. And so she goes and chaos ensues and Gothic madness, and there's a lot of beautiful description in here apparently of mushrooms and rot and all of those lovely things that I am just so excited to read about. The next book I have, I am also so excited to read. It is The Tower of Nero, which is the 5th book in the Trials of Apollo series. You may have seen a reading vlog I did in October of last year, so almost a full year ago. And in this reading vlog, I went to Barnes & Noble on release day and got this book. Still haven't read it. I am excited to finally finish out the Trials of Apollo series. If you weren't aware, Trials of Apollo is the spin-off of Percy Jackson, and this particular book, Rick Riordan has said, is the last book in the Camp Half-Blood Percy Jackson world. He's kind of moving on from there. He actually has a book called Daughter of the Deep, I believe coming out October, which is 2 months from now. So my goal is to get this done before the new one comes out, but I'm very sad to see all of my lovely characters in Percy Jackson go, but I feel like it's time and I'm hoping it's great. The cover is absolutely beautiful. We know that the Trials of Apollo series has had a rough run with their cover art. Another book that I have to read to finish off a series that I started a long time ago is the big baddie herself, Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. So this is the third book in, what is it even called? The Dark Artifices, which is the Emma Carstairs, Julian Blackthorne spin-off of the Shadowhunters books. By far the best one we've had. And I say that knowing full well that my love for the Infernal Devices runs deep within my veins. This is just on another level, and I rated the first one and the second one both 5 stars. I have high expectations for this, and I have been putting it off because it's going to hurt so bad, but I gotta do it because I have Chain of Iron and I have whatever the next one is, and I need to start catching up because I am like years behind. I'm pretty sure this came out in like 2018. Ooh, it's signed! The next thing I want to read is actually a collection of poetry, and it is The Ariel by Sylvia Plath. I read The Bell Jar twice. Each time I read it, I have absolutely adored it. I had read a couple of poems from here during class, fell in love with them, decided to get the full restored edition. This edition is actually really cool because it has just the regular text, but then in the back, it has the original manuscript text of the poems in her handwriting, and you can see where she's like crossed stuff out and changed stuff. And to me, that is absolutely fascinating because one of my favorite things is kind of getting a sense of how writers think. It is so interesting to me to be able to read exactly what she had originally written and see where the changes were made and try to figure out why the changes were made. The next book I have is the book that I know my dad is the most excited for me to read. So hi, Dad. This one's for you. Dune by Frank Herbert. My parents are the biggest Dune fans. They love it so much, and they have been trying to get me to read Dune for years and years and years, but I am allergic to our copies because they're very old and dusty, and I'm allergic to old dusty books. So I decided to get my own copy so I could read it. My plan is to definitely read it before the movie comes out. This is definitely going to be a long read for me because it's high sci-fi vibes. Dune is a high sci-fi novel about Paul, who lives on the planet Arrakis. It's a desert planet, and it's kind of the story of him and House Atreides and all of these other crazy things and adventures. And I know I'm describing it poorly, and I'm so sorry if you're a big Dune fan. Feel free to come for me in the comments, but this is like one of the most acclaimed books of all time. The next book actually just came in the mail this morning. I'm very excited. Severance by Ling Ma. I actually got this edition from Kat from Paperback Dreams. So Kat, thank you for this. I'm very excited to read it. What I understand about Severance, it's a critique of capitalism and work culture and the Asian American experience from the perspective of a global pandemic called Shen Fever that turns humans into zombie-like beings, creatures. I know a lot of people who read this book during COVID times, and they're like, the resemblance is uncanny. If there's ever a time to read this book, it is now, and I am really excited to start this because I can already feel the brain juices. Brain juices? Girl, I can already feel so many thoughts and good things happening in my brain when I think about this book. Water break. Should I give you guys a tour of my plants? Let me know if you want to meet them all. They all have names. I'm a big plant. I'm a big plant gal. That's what I was trying to say. Plant gal, not plant. I'm not a plant. Just to clarify, if anyone was confused, I am not a plant. Next book on my TBR is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This is a book that I have been waiting for since before it came out, and I finally was able to get my hands on it. Thank you to the Strand bookstore in New York for having the exact edition I wanted when literally no store even had any edition in stock. This book tells the story of William Shakespeare's rise to fame and his life and his relationship with his son Hamnet. If you didn't know, Hamnet, Hamlet, they're related. Not related by blood, but related in concept, because once Shakespeare's son Hamnet died, it's not a spoiler because it's real life. He was inspired to write Hamlet, and a lot of the things that Hamlet deals with in the play Hamlet were things that Shakespeare was dealing with after the death of his son Hamnet. I've been waiting to get my hands on this for months. This has definitely got that fall vibes. This is something that I'm super interested in because I love Shakespeare, as we know. I've read Hamlet so many times. This is exactly my vibe. Next book, I'm not going to talk a lot about, Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I've had this for 3 or 4 years. I have been putting off reading it because I know it's just going to emotionally destroy me and I'm not ready for it. Brought it to DC last semester, thought I was going to read it, said I was putting it off until the summer because the beach vibes, brought it to the beach, did not read it because I am afraid of getting hurt and I have to do it. I just have to read it, especially because I just finished reading Circe, so I kind of have no excuse. Song of Achilles, retelling of the Iliad, story of Achilles and Patroclus of the Trojan War, and I'm gonna put it down now and move on to something else because we all know what this is. Next on the TBR, I have The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. This is a love story spanning many, many years about a girl and a boy who meet at a stationery shop in 1953 Tehran. So the two of them fall in love in the stationery shop and they bond over poetry and Rumi and all of these lovely things. Violence erupts and there's a coup, and it takes you through the story of their lives, and it's a story of love and loss and lost love. And I know it is going to wreck me because these kinds of things always do. And I started it and then I had to put it down and I'm gonna finish it. I am so sorry about how much noise is coming out of this window. I thought the background was cute and different, but we're getting so much background noise. I feel like it's just a thing in my videos now that there's just too much noise in the back when I try to film. Like, I can't win. I feel like I live in the neighborhood of lawnmowers. Next is The Lying Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante. I have no clue what this is about except for that it's Italian. It's translated from Italian. My mom read it. My mom absolutely loved it. She gave it to me. She was like, you need to read this. I haven't read it yet, so I'm planning on reading it. Next, I have Interior Chinatown by, who's this by? Charles Yu. Super excited for this one. This one also just came in the mail this morning. I ordered a bunch of books off of Depop, if you haven't figured that out already. Also, if you want to buy books from me, I have Depop, link in the description. You can go buy books. I'm super excited for this book because this is written in the format of a screenplay. This is what the interior, this is what the interior looks like. So in this book, a man named Willis, he is an actor, he's kind of a background actor, and then he gets picked to play some sort of like kung fu master. And so he feels really great, but then there's a lot of exploration of like Asian stereotypes in media and also his own family history and his family legacy and his relationship to Chinatown where he lives. If you guys didn't know, I am an actor. My dad is a screenwriter, so scripts, screenwriting, movies, and all the books just fell. Scripts, screenwriting, movies, they're all something I grew up with, and I'm really, really excited to see where this book takes me because I've never seen a book written in the format of a screenplay before. I think it's going to really enhance my experience. Next book I have is Autobiography of Red by Anne Carson. This is a poem, so it's just one long poem, and it is the story of Geryon from the Hercules myth, and it's basically a retelling of Hercules's labors from the perspective of Geryon. It's small, but takes a lot of brain power. This is definitely one that I'm gonna get around to, but I'm not 100% sure when because I really want to focus on it and take time with it. The next book I have is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. 100 Years of Solitude tells the story of the rise and fall, birth and death of the mystical town of Macondo through the history of the Buendia family. Inventive, amusing, magnetic, sad, and alive with unforgettable men and women, brewing with truth, compassion, and a lyrical magic that strikes the soul, this novel is a masterpiece in the art of fiction. So this novel follows the Buendia family. It follows them throughout 100 years, and there's this whole thing where family members are named after family members and their stories kind of repeat and time is circular. It's historical fiction. This is one of those books that everyone I know who's read it just raves about it and considers it one of their favorite books of all time. So I'm really, really excited to get to just tear this apart, eat it up. Next book I have is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I actually started this book a while back. I am currently on page 39. However, I had to put it down because I had schoolwork. So The Poppy War is a fantasy story based off of Chinese culture and Chinese history, and it is about a girl named Rin. She ends up going to the most elite military school in the entire country. While she's at the school, she ends up gaining these powers. I've also heard very good things about this book. The last book I have to show you guys, I'm thinking of ending things Things by Ian Reid. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is a book that you're kind of supposed to go into not knowing a lot. So basically, the way I'm going to describe it to you guys is this girl and this guy are dating, and the girl goes to meet the guy's parents, and that is all I'm saying. Literally, this book does not even have a description on the back or inside cover. That's how you know that you just need to go into it blind. I've heard this book described as an A24 horror film in book form, and that is exactly what I need in my life, because A24 horror films are some of my absolute favorite horror films of all time. This is something that I've been meaning to read for like 2 years and just hadn't had the chance to get my hands on a copy. I now own a copy. I'm planning on reading this around Halloween time, but I might not be able to resist and decide to read it earlier. I'm gonna try to stack all these books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 books. That is a lot of books. Oh my god. Okay. I got it. So these are all the books that are on my physical TBR. I am gonna schlep these all with me to Washington, DC, and I am gonna try not to buy more books until I finish these, but let's be real, I have no self-control when it comes to books. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be back, and let me know what's on your TBR. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought. And yeah, bye! Hi. Hello. Hi.